you looking to move to New York City, but you're on a really tight budget? If so, I'm here to help. New York City is known for being exceptionally expensive, and although there's no way to get around that entirely, there are definitely a ton of ways to make living here much more affordable. You just have to know how. Hey everybody, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Hannah, and I make videos about New York City and my life here living in it. And today, we're just gonna talk about some practical ways to save money when you move here. This video would have been so helpful for me when I first moved with very little money and no job prospects lined up. I've actually told this whole story on my channel, so if you're interested, I'll put a card here and link it in the description. But for now, let's get right into it with some ways to save money on your apartment. Having an apartment is unfortunately something that you cannot avoid entirely, and it's likely going to be your biggest expense, but fortunately there are ways to save hundreds if you know what to look for. When you're searching for your apartment online, filter your results to only show no-fee apartments. This means that you won't have to pay a broker's fee on any of those listings. If you're not familiar, when you use a broker here in New York, you have to pay them a fee, and that fee is usually a full month's rent or 10 to 15% of the annual rent. So we're talking thousands of dollars here, and it's just really not worth it. Online search tools like Street Easy make it super simple to find apartments on your own. And if you're looking at listings that have fees associated with them, you still have to pay that broker fee even if you found the apartment yourself. So just don't filter that out. You can also save, I would say, up to a couple $100s just by living a little bit further from the subway. And I don't even mean anything crazy. If a 10 to 15 minute walk to the subway sounds reasonable to you, you should consider this. When I first moved here, I thought that living near the subway was really important, and it turned out that it wasn't so much for me. For example, if you work from home, you're really not going to be using the subway that much. So it might be worth it for you to save the money and walk a little bit further. Sort of in the same vein, but if you are able-bodied and in relatively good shape, consider looking at walk-up apartments rather than ones that have an elevator. Sure, this is a little bit inconvenient, but it's also a really good way to save some money if you don't mind it so much. Also, if you're totally opposed to a walk-up, but don't mind the idea of living on the ground floor, those are cheaper sometimes as well. I personally wouldn't live on the ground floor, but that's just because for me, I feel a little bit safer living higher up. But a lot of people really like it and prefer it because of the ease of being able to just walk right outside. Just a couple of tips regarding this though. If you do decide to get a ground floor apartment, make sure that it is on a relatively quiet street, as you will get more street noise on the ground floor. And you also might want to check out where it is in relation to where your building keeps its trash. If you're close to where the trash goes, you could experience some issues with rodents or bugs. But again, a lot of ground floor apartments are really great, so if you don't mind being on the ground floor, definitely check some out because you could save some money. Move in the winter time if possible. I'm super sad that I originally moved here in the summer and have since been stuck in a cycle of moving in the summer because the rents are a lot cheaper in the winter time. This is because the weather is cold and gross and snowy and no one wants to move in that time, and there also aren't as many students moving around then. So if you're flexible, which I wasn't because my partner Ross's job started in the summer, so I had to move then. But if you're flexible, definitely try moving in January or February. That's going to be the cheapest. The most expensive time to move is like May to September-ish, so definitely try to avoid that if you can. Know where to buy your groceries. A lot of the grocery stores in the city are stupid overpriced, and yes, I am looking at you, Gristedes. Gristedes is the worst grocery store that I have stepped foot in here in this city or anywhere else. It is priced like a Whole Foods, but looks like the inside of a particularly grimy dollar store. And don't get me wrong, I love a good dollar store, but if you were expecting me to pay $11 for a pound of ground beef, and no, I'm not exaggerating, you need to look like the inside of a Tiffany's or something. Anyway, I think this is probably like the third time or something I've complained about Gristedes on this channel, so let's move on. If you're a regular viewer, you know that as much as I hate Gristedes, I love Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's has great prices for New York City, and the quality is always great. Another thing you should look out for are those veggie and fruit stands that you come across out on the street. Those are usually even better priced than Trader Joe's, and usually pretty good and fresh too, so definitely don't sleep on those. Buy nothing groups. Pause this video right now and join your neighborhood's Buy Nothing group if you haven't already. If you're unfamiliar with Buy Nothing groups, these are Facebook groups for your community where people will post things that they no longer want and are giving away for free. You can also do this with your things that you're giving away, as well as requesting something specific that you need, and maybe someone will have it. I wasn't familiar with these before moving to New York City, so it feels like a New York thing to me, but they actually do have them all over the place. So even if you don't live here and you're just watching this, go and see if your city or neighborhood has one as well. Like I said, I'm in a Facebook group for it, but in researching for this video, I found that they also have an app, so you can check that too. These groups stem from something called the Buy Nothing Project, which was started by Liesl Clark and Rebecca Rockefeller in 2013. And I will put a link to the website in the description if you'd like to learn more. From the website, Buy Nothing offers people a way to give and receive, share, lend, and express gratitude through a worldwide gift economy network, in which the true wealth is the web of connections formed between people. We believe that communities are more resilient, sustainable, equitable, and joyful when they have functional gift economies. It's such a nice concept, and you can find some really great stuff. Rory's water fountain, Buy Nothing group. This very nice TV stand, Buy Nothing group. This massive television, Buy Nothing group. I see a ton of furniture items on there, so if you're not too picky and willing to wait for things to pop up, I truly believe that you could furnish your entire apartment this way. Another thing to look out for are stoop finds. Stooping is huge in this city. A lot of the time when people don't want something anymore, they just sit it out on the curb and you can take it. Some tips for stooping. Know when your neighborhood's trash day is. There's likely going to be a whole lot more out on trash day. The beginning and end of a month when people are moving is also a great time to look. And also, just to be really candid here, go scour some upscale neighborhoods around this time, because a lot of the time when rich people move, they're putting their really nice stuff out on the street, so you can find some really great ones there. If you aren't following Stooping NYC on Instagram, you should definitely do that. They post stoop finds that people submit to them, and it's usually super up to date. I believe they've said in the past that they don't post anything that wasn't submitted more than 2 hours prior, so if they've posted it, there's a good chance it's still there. Hi, Rory's here. Say hello. If you're new here, this is Rory. She makes regular appearances on this channel, and you should subscribe for her, if for no other reason. Okay, bye. This is not one of those videos where I'm going to tell you to cut out anything that is fun and never spend any money ever. Of course, if you're moving here, you want to experience the city and everything that it has to offer, and fortunately, there are a lot of great ways to do that on a budget. What is unfortunate though is that if you are into nightlife type things, bars and clubs, those are some of the more expensive things to do here. But there are ways to make it more manageable. Before you go out, check and see if the places you're wanting to go have drink minimums or cover charges. and choose places that don't. Then before you go out to those places, you can pregame a little bit at home, or don't if you don't want to, totally up to you. But then when you get there, only have one drink and stick to water or soda the rest of the time. Drinks in New York are so expensive, like disproportionately expensive. I'm talking $15 to $20 for a single cocktail is normal. So you can definitely save a lot of money by not going overboard there. If the nightlife scene isn't so much your thing, it's really easy to find affordable entertainment here. For one, New York is just such a cool city that you can spend entire days just walking around and looking at stuff. When I first moved here, I did a ton of exploring various neighborhoods and not spending a dime more than subway fare to do it. I even still do this almost 3 years later. A lot of the time when Ross and I want to go have a little date day or something, we don't pick a restaurant or an activity, we pick a neighborhood. It'll be like, hey, let's go walk around Bushwick today. And we are always finding something new, even still. Spending the day in any of the beautiful parks that the city has to offer is also great. Especially in the summer months, they have a lot of free activities too, like the kayaking at Brooklyn Bridge Park or the yoga classes they have there. Most of the museums have free days or hours as well. You just have to check out when they are and plan accordingly. The city's beaches are great in the summertime. There's always some sort of pop-up art gallery around. Oh, and another really cool one is TV show tapings. You do have to do some planning ahead here. Sometimes you have to get the tickets pretty far in advance to guarantee admission, but it is always free. So go see SNL or Fallon or whatever you enjoy. I could keep going on about this, but this video would be like 4 hours long. So maybe if there's enough interest, I can make a video on free and cheap entertainment options. So let me know if you'd like to see that. We've already talked about where to buy groceries, but assuming you want to eat out sometimes, and you really should because New York has amazing food, there are a lot of cheap options here. If you've been watching a lot of New York City based content, you've probably already heard of Dollar Pizza, but if you haven't, I will put a card here and a link in the description for a video that Ross and I made about a year ago where we scouted out the best dollar pizza in Midtown. So go watch that if you're interested. But in addition to Dollar Pizza, delis and bodegas are a great option. You can get huge sandwiches, bagels, salads, all for pretty cheap. If you want some inexpensive, authentic Chinese food, check out any of the city's Chinatowns for that. And yes, I said Chinatowns, plural. There is more than just Chinatown in Manhattan. Flushing, Queens, and Sunset Park, Brooklyn are great for this. The street food carts are really great too. I've gotten a lot of questions about those, like if they're clean, safe to eat from. The answer is yes, they're really good. Extra tip for those, go to the ones that aren't too close to tourist spots. They will be a little bit cheaper, even if you just walk like a block or two away from whatever tourist attraction. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope it helps you save some money when you move here, or if you're already living here. If there's anything that I left out, feel free to leave your tips in the comments. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. I really appreciate it, and it really does help me out. And subscribe if you haven't already for new videos at least every Saturday. And I will see you in the next one.